Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, we're talking birthdays, buying a bargain, playing golf, TV, and computer games, both virtual reality and console games. Yeah, I think that's about it, actually. It's a bit of one of them, not a lot to talk about, goes on for an hour and 20 minutes. One of them ones. You know the sort. Anyway, before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. And yeah, obviously the biggest thing that we can ask you to do as loyal fans is just share the podcast around. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast. The Darkest Timeline. Hello. How's it going? Well, good. I'm not unwell. I'm not. I think, mentally I'm not. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to... Oh, wait. Yep, I'll just keep moving that box from side to side, because I'm sure... Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Cracking start. So, are you well? This week's list is one of those lists that I looked at earlier today and went, wow, was that a week ago? Proper just like, wow, how a week can feel. So, nearly a week ago, no, not me. Nearly a week ago, it was my son's birthday. I was super excited. I knew that he had some cool gifts. I knew our activity was going to be something that I've been talking about for ages and ages and ages about doing and just never have the opportunity to do. We were going to, we were planning the day to an absolute T just to make sure everything happened. Asked him what he wanted to do on his birthday, and he said he wanted to see his sisters. So got that sorted, and yeah, the whole thing was nailed on, ready to go. It's almost like you already know what's coming. So I went to get him up on the morning of his birthday to tears, full-blown meltdown, and very quickly realising that he was unwell. The kind of unwell where it's like, I'm going to have to give him some Calpol because he's not well. And then after a while going, yeah, that Calpol hasn't done anything, has it? And, it's things like, maybe he just needs something to eat, or maybe, I was saying to him at one part, I think you need to go back to bed. But anyway, I had a series of things that I needed to get done to be able to go about enjoying his birthday. So there's an element of I just wanted to get those things done so we could go out. But it meant that I missed various bits. So I would like check in at various points to see sort of how he was doing. And honestly, the morning was a complete write-off. Something that was just one of those things that in my head was going to be very different to how it actually was. Decided to take him to the Railway Museum. He's never been. It's a place I've been many times for many years. But have never been able to get that situation where he could go. It's mostly around the fact that he still needs to sleep during the day. And it was basically like, right, perfect opportunity. We can just get him over there first thing and then get him back for a little bit of a later sleep. And that'll probably help him get through afternoon, evening, especially if he's not well. By the time we got to the Railway Museum, it was less about whether he was well or not, and more about the fact that this was in the middle of what that turned out to be the hottest days of the year so far. Now, I'm like, Railway Museum, it's like a big open space, and in my head, I always have it that it's cold there. Like even in summer, it's like cool because you go in and like the type of brick it is, and all of this stuff was going through my head. We get there, we go in. By this point, I'm a bit like, what are we really doing here? If he's not well, what's the point? Kind of thing. But you know, it's his birthday, and you gotta do what you gotta do. So we get to the Railway Museum, and it is hot as balls. Like, once we got in there, it was like someone had put the heating on. And I just spent, because my morning had basically been just running around like a lunatic, quite literally at some points. Like, I had to run, I had to walk the dog, I had to do all of that, and like get showered and changed in like just about an hour. I think I had an hour and 15 minutes to do those three things. And because of that, by the time we sort of got in and all of that, all I wanted to do was sit down. All I wanted to do was, if I'm honest, lie down. I kind of felt like I wanted to go back to bed. And I was like, I am completely wiped out. And I think it was 50% everything I'd done up to that point of the day, and 50% that it was just so warm. And we were only there. I think we were there like 45 minutes. Now, me being me, I'm like, oh, there's this. He had something for his birthday that he was wanted for ages, and I was like, let's take it with us. Wrapped up, and then he can open it while he's there, and then it's like he's got a friend to carry it, to take round with him, and I think it'll be fun and cool and all of this. Like the majority of the ideas that I have, it was an absolute disaster because we've not been there very long. It's like, hey, there's a present here for you. Do you want to open this present? Open the present. And inside it, big, full-size Buzz Lightyear. Technically, it's a light and sound one. I think I would say when it decides it wants to be, it is. But this is the thing that he's been after for quite some time at this point. So he's like, oh, I've got this now. So any and all interest that he had in being at the Railway Museum went straight out the window. So it just turned into this thing of not entirely sure why we're here. There was an element like when Leanne was like, oh, it's time to go. I was like, really? I feel like we only just got here. It's like, well, got to go, got to get home, etc., etc. So that was that. And honestly, I was like, the morning's been a bit of a write-off as far as birthdays are concerned. Now then, on the flip side, he woke up in a good mood. He didn't seem as unwell. And by the time he woke up, it wasn't too long until I had to go and collect all of the girls from school. Brought them home, and he was very happy. I think, that was the thing he wanted to do for his birthday. He wanted to spend time with his sisters, and that's what he did. So, there we go. He had a birthday cake with birthday candles. Didn't understand the concept. So that was, a little entertaining and stuff. But yes. Another birthday gone and another roaring success. If I had to rate the day, I think the morning was a write-off and the afternoon was a lot better. So 50-50 by the end of the day, I guess. This will come back round later. Yeah, we'll talk about it again in a bit. I know I've spoken in the past about an affliction of mine. I have this theory that, shops see me coming and they run out and just stick like a yellow sticker on every item in the place that they're struggling to sell, because they know that I'll rock up and be like, oh, I can't turn down a bargain. And that is largely true, which has caused a series of problems recently. Two problems I can relay. One, having recently got into more of a PC gaming world through the joys of the Steam Deck. Steam is not a good place for people who, like myself, enjoy a bargain. They like, I consider myself to be a person who, like some would say, a bargain hunter. No, just a bargain addict, I think. But for some people, it's a bit like a thrill of the chase kind of thing. It could be that sort of thing. There's an element of feeling like you're winning in life and feel like you're getting one over on the big corporations and all of that. And ultimately, you're getting, when we're talking about like games cheaper and stuff, you're getting a game at a fraction of the price that they want to charge you every other day of the week, and you're still paying more than it's worth in a lot of ways. And honestly, I'm not trying to belittle game companies and developers and things like that. I'm just saying they're sold at, a massive markup. I can't imagine, it costs that much more to make games nowadays than it did 10, 15 years ago. So getting into Steam, like every day there's a bargain. Luckily for me, I look some days and go, that game is not for me. That is not the game for me. I have no interest in that game. And then there's the other days where I'm like, ooh, I want that. So that has caused a kind of issue. The other kind of issue has been that a friend of mine linked me into this website. That basically they're like, oh, do you want this cheap? And I'm like, yes. It's like, cool, because we've got it for 90% off. And there's a part of me that's like, how? And there's another part of me that's like, I don't particularly care if I can have something 90% off. You know, if something's the best part of 20 quid, but you want me to give you £1.90, sold. It's that kind of thing. So these two things have come up recently, and I think I've talked a little bit about the fact that some of the VR games I've been playing recently have cost me, you know, less than £2, and I've probably got 20 quid's worth of gameplay out of them, and you almost feel like you're stealing in that sense. So that's been a thing. A third thing, which I'm now thinking, yeah, I didn't really add that one. Humble bundles. Sometimes I look at the bundles and go, absolutely no interest to me. And then they send me an email and go, VR bundle, sir. And I go, oh, you swine. Every now and then they send one through and I'm like, oh, those games look really good. And then I'll look at the price and go, that's a lot of money. So that's how they lose me on those ones. So we've set the scene, okay? I am a sucker for a bargain. Sometimes really badly so. Anyway, so last Wednesday, I think it was. Now, admittedly, I knew this was coming, so I was a little bit like, oh no, we're going to have a problem. Last Wednesday, the Steam summer sale started, and anybody that doesn't know, the Steam summer sales are legendary. They are the thing of legends. Basically, any game you've had your eye on forever will be cheaper. I think I had a quick look. I think I had something like 20 games on my wish list. I think 17 of them were on sale. They have done a thing where they've done this deep discount section where they've basically taken a load of classic games and heavily discounted them. So you can get like what was at the time a AAA game X number of years ago. They'll be like, give us £3. Right. Okay. And then I'm like, here's another AAA game. Give us £1.50. It's like, okay. Like, here's another one. What did we say for that other one? £3. Give us £4 for this one. I'm like, yes. I was prepared. I kept checking like the times and dates and things. I also, weirdly, not weirdly because I know how it happened, it wasn't magic or anything, but I also had money in my Steam account. It's a very long story involving a series of vouchers. Let's just say there was money in the account. So I kind of knew I had a buffer. So I'm like, not going to lie, I feel like this one's going to get messy. You know, the night out where you've planned it for a while, you've budgeted basically your entire month spending money and you're going to spend it in one night, and it's starting at 5 in the evening and you know you're not at work the next day. It was the sale equivalent of that. I knew it was going to get messy. I knew people were going to get hurt. Feelings were going to get hurt. Yeah, I think I might have bought 10 games. I imagine there's probably a way I can find out. Give me 1 second. I know this isn't important, but it just sells the... what's the notification? Where? How? Hang on. Ah, recent. Here we go. Now, balls. This is the freaking VR stuff. Oh, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's part of the thing. 8. Is that what? Oh, wait, no. 9. I can say for sure, faux def, 9 games. Series of those games. In fact, no, I'm like, because I know full well that in that list, I can tell you for definite 1 game is missing. I'm going to say a minimum of 10 games. Of those 10 games, 8 of them were under a tenner. And of those 8 that were under a tenner, I'm going to say 6 of them will have been under a fiver. One of my favourites was looking at a game and going, oh yeah, I'd fancy getting that sort of thing. And then if you scroll down the page a little bit, it'll be like, oh, it's part of a bundle. There are, 2 games in this series, so you can have them both for less than a tenner. And it's like, I mean, what are we doing here? It's a no-brainer. Sold. There is a part of me that thinks I've owned one of them previously and it didn't work on the Steam Deck, but I can't confirm that. Bought a game that said it absolutely was completely 100% unsupported on the Steam Deck, and I went, shit. I bought that, paid for it, balls. It was £4, so, and I'd be able to get a refund on it. I was like, hey, no, we're not doing that with this. What we're going to do is we're going to install it and then play it. And if it plays fine, job done. If it doesn't, uninstall and refund. Simple as that. Played it. Touch wood, it's played okay for 2 levels, so not sure. The only thing that I found was I couldn't upgrade anything. Weapons and like moves and stuff. Couldn't upgrade anything. Which I thought was strange. And did wonder if that was why it was listed as unsupported. So, yes. Unfortunately, that wasn't the only money I spent. Bought 2 Quest VR games through the website that gives you money off. Spent less than £4. Let me just check one thing. Hang on. No. Can't even tell you I'm going to talk about one of the new ones later, because actually I spoke about it a little bit last week. And to add the bargain cherry to the highly discounted goes out of date tomorrow cake, as I said, Humble decided to email me and went, you like VR games, don't you? Do you want 8 of them for less than a tenner? I was like, geez, man. I looked at the list and went, well, there's at least 2 of them I want to play, and there's another 2 that either I'll want to play or I know somebody in my house who will. So there was that. Why have I written it on the list? I've talked about this before. I've talked about my true belief that the run around the shops putting the yellow stickers on before I get there. And I keep saying to people, I wish somebody would just take my Steam account away or stop them from emailing me. And someone was like, you can do that. You can stop them emailing you about like discounts and sales and stuff. And I went, oh, okay. And then promptly did nothing about it. I had a conversation today where somebody was saying, their Steam account is in the four-figure number of games, and I was like, poof. And then I went, mine's quadrupled in 3 months, so now admittedly, I think I had less than 20, so, also quadrupled was an underestimate. Something that's come up recently and something that keeps coming up for me, and it's not just for me. There's been a few things recently where I've started to wonder whether things like this are not a problem, more like the problem. How do you turn down a bargain would be the question. Somebody says this is £50 on every day apart from today. And today it's £8. You're supposed to say, no, I'm good, thanks. Somebody said to me recently that they had done a thing where they stopped buying things that just appeared on sale. Unless they needed something new to play, and then they didn't, and then they would indulge that side of things. However, as with the way games go, that was few and far between, and I was a bit like, that's not too bad an idea, to be fair. I have bought more than 10 Steam games, a couple of Quest VR games, and a humble bundle with 8 PC VR games in it. How many of those games can I play at the same time? For those of you who struggle with maths, the answer is 1. And that's something that will kind of come up in a little bit when I get into talking about what games I've been playing recently. So, not Sunday gone, Sunday before. You with me? I took my daughters to play mini golf. We know this. I talked about it. It was truly riveting, I'm sure. The place I took them to play mini golf was a different place to the place we normally go. The place we normally go is indoors. This was outdoors. Knowing that they have a concept of mini golf, but when you play mini golf outside, it adds an element. The place that I took them has a lot of different golf-related facilities. So they've got mini golf, foot golf, driving range, and a 9-hole course. I'm kind of a bit like, it's not a bad little, not a bad little business, if you know. And they have, what I realised yesterday while standing and waiting, they have quite a, I don't know what you'd call it. Part of me is like well-stocked, like golf shop. They basically had everything you could possibly want, and honestly, more, because I was looking around and I was like, I'm pretty sure they've got like kids clubs. Anyway, that's skipping ahead. While we were there, I took the girls to have a look at the driving range. I went through a series of different rules just to sort of start. I was like, look, I will take you to the door and you can watch what people are doing. Do not speak. Do not make a sound. just go to the door, have a look, come away, and then we can have a conversation later. Now, I've had a couple of conversations with a couple of people over the last sort of day or so where I've said, I have these things where it's very much a two-sided thing. One, I'd really like my children to follow in some of the things that I have found joy in. I've enjoyed these things in my life. I want to pass those things on. I feel that's only natural. However, over time, I've realised it's probably not going to happen. Some of those things are going to die with me. I love to bake. I love to cook. None of my children have shown any signs in having any interest in either of those activities. You get little fleeting things here and there, but honestly, they're just not interested. And I have to say, that's fine. Of the fact that I have 4 children, I would love it if one of them had an interest in golf. I'm not going to lie. And I know a few of you right now are thinking, golf? Where the hell did golf come from? It's a very long story. It goes back many, 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 many years ago and probably hasn't come up all that much in the time I've been doing this podcast. Let's just say golf, for one reason or another, was a big part of my life a long time ago. It's a much smaller part of my life now, whether I would like it to be that way or not. I would like one of my children to follow in that enjoyment. And I thought I knew which child it would be. So, my middle daughter has shown an interest. Now, element of me believe that she doesn't fully understand what it is. You know, we're not playing mini golf, we're playing golf. It involves, teeing off, the short game, and the putting side of things, which she already knows. Now, I try and explain these things to her, and she's like, yes, absolutely, I get it, and I want to do it. And I'm like, okay. My eldest daughter has clearly been in that camp of, nah, I'm probably good. Like, you sure? Yeah, I think so. Right, okay. As far as activities are concerned of certain types, I'm a bit like, meh. That's that. However, conversation arose, and the conversation was this. I fancy hitting the driving range at the weekend. All right, okay. When are you thinking of doing it? Not sure. Whenever it fits, I'll just fit it in somewhere. It shouldn't take me a long time, etc., etc., etc. And then I was a bit like, it's a bit of a dick move to say, right, I'm just going to go and hit 100 balls at the driving range while you look after the younger 2 children. See ya. So I was like, said to my youngest daughter, I was like, hey, I'm going to go to the driving range. Do you remember when I took you to look through the door? People were hitting the balls. Like, yeah. I was like, do you want to go? Yeah. Like, okay. Do you want to give it a try? Because I think they can, give you a club. Yeah. Right. Okay. You come with me. Let's see how we get on. I'm like, if we get 50 balls, I hit 40 of them, she hits 10, and she can't do it, or she's not very good, or she doesn't like it, neither of us have really lost anything. I was like, yeah, let's do that. I bundle her in the car. I grab a few clubs and some gloves for me, not her. And away we go. We get there. She was surprised that we'd gone there. I was like, where did you think we were going? But anyway, so I was like, right, okay. And I was like, we're going to have 50 balls. I was like, do you have a club for her? They were like, yeah. She went. They sort of tried her out with a particular size, and they went, this is the size for you. I paid for the 50 balls, and I was like, right. And I started giving her, like, the moment we walked through the door onto the driving range, I was like, just rules. Now, I think most people can either know or can probably understand that there's a lot of rules. And a lot of the rules around golf aren't to do with hit that ball that way. A lot of them to do with etiquette, do's and don'ts. How to survive a round of golf, not just in the fact that no matter what anybody tells you, it can be quite a grueling time. So I was like, when you come to get your balls out of the machine, you put your basket in. I was like, put your foot just against the basket to keep it in, and then all of the balls go in the basket. And that's what we want. That's what we're looking for. All right, okay. So we did the thing. The balls came. We got a bucket of balls, and away we went. And I managed to get us a bay that had the auto loading machine. She just had a little iron. So I was like, right, okay, you won't be able to use the tee, so you will just hit off the flat. So 50 balls. And I had a couple of hits, and the first few were so bad. I'm pretty sure I hit the roof of the driving range, directly above me. I hit the shield things on the side so you don't hit other people. And I think I managed to hit a ball 4 feet. And I was like, this was a terrible idea. But we were there, and I'm like, okay, let's just do the best, make the best of it. So I was like, right, it's your go. So I was like, do this. So she did a load of stuff, and I was like, no, not really. Try this, and put this here, and put the club there, and make sure your feet are apart, and blah, blah. And she had to go. Pretty much what you'd expect. And I was like, we're not playing mini golf. You have to hit this ball, stop tapping it, hit the ball. So a lot of the first sort of section was her learning the difference between a hit and a putt. Fully expected, fully understandable. She's played mini golf 2 or 3 times. And that's what it was. Back then it was, don't hit the ball, just tap it. So, that's that. We basically alternate through the first 50 balls from I'd hit 10, she'd hit 5. I'd hit another 10, and so on. So, the first 50 balls didn't light anything on fire. By the end of the first 50 balls, had managed to sort of dial it in. Now, my issue with hitting on a driving range is simply you can take 50 shots if you want, and somewhere in those 50 shots is one good one. When you then go and play golf, you've got one chance to hit that one shot. And that's where it all falls apart for me. Anyway. So I was like, what do you want to do? Now, this is the point with any child where that child has the opportunity to say, I'm bored, I don't like it, I want to go home. Or any combination. She's like, shall we get another 50 balls? It's like, do you want to? Yes, and this time I'm going to try and do this. And by the end of the first 50, she was hitting the ball on her own. And she didn't want any help. Stop helping. I don't want you to say stuff. Just let me do it. I'm like, okay. So she is adamant she wants to get 50 balls. I was like, right, here's what we'll do. We'll get 50 balls, we'll come back. I got the ticket. She's like, can I do the balls? I'm like, yes. She's very excited to get the basket. And she put it in the machine. And she was like, you do the ticket. I was like, okay. Scan the ticket. And I turned and she had her foot against the basket, holding it in place. I'd mentioned that to her once in passing. But there she was, stood with her little foot against the basket. And I was like, that's interesting. Because I said it to her once. She took it on board, she memorised it, and then redid it when it came to the time to do it. And I was like, interesting. So we went back. We went to get out of the same bay, but somebody was using it. And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you'd gone. And I was like, oh, no, it's fine. We had gone, but we'd just gone to get more balls. I apologise. Don't worry about it. We'll find another bay. And they were like, no, it's fine. And I was like, don't put yourselves out. You are well within your right to take that bay. And they insisted. And I said, thank you very much. That is very kind. At the end of the day, you've got a small child with you. It goes a long way, doesn't it? So, she's like, can I help pour the balls in the machine? I said, yes, you can. We did that. I was like, right, press the on button just once, just press it and be done. So we got 50 balls. Of those 50 balls, I am going to say conservatively, I hit 10 of them. The rest, she hit. So, on one hand, that's good. On another hand, I want to say it's not good, but it was. And I want to say that she didn't do very well, but I can't. She didn't hit a ball at the age that she is, at the height that she is, having done it for the first time, 50 yards. She absolutely did not do that. She did hit a ball 20, 25 yards and followed instructions to the absolute T. The whole time my mind's going, if somebody who actually knew how to play golf was like teaching her right now, rather than this idiot who doesn't know how to play golf, what benefits would that have? And here's where the problem comes in, because my initial instinct is, right, you're going to need a full set of clubs, you're going to need some shoes, you're going to need an outfit, you're going to need a box of balls, and you're going to have to start playing 5 times a week, because we really need to dial this in. What that is to children is, Daddy has found a way to make you hate this instantly. Let's crack on. I know that, and I just tried to avoid it. Now, here's the thing. For her age, for her height, for however you want to say it, for the fact it was her first time, she did really well. But I had to play it down. Not to her. I was very complimentary to her, and I was like, I know she did really well there. But I had to play it down to everyone else. Not for their sake, but for my sake. Because I'm like, this could easily run away with itself as far as I'm concerned. I could be like, do you want to hit the driving range after school every day this week? And go on the weekend for a couple of hours. Let's get 250 balls and see what that goes like, shall we? That's the me that wants my children to succeed with things. There's also the me that wants to, like I say, murder the things that they could ever have any possibility of enjoying because I take these things too far. So that dog is firmly on a leash at the moment. She did say that she'd really like to go again. She was like, we'll come here every Thursday. I'm like, why Thursday? She's like, sorry, I mean Sunday. In my head, I'm like, I mean, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. But I'm also like, well, you know, we can see. So we're leaving. She's like, Daddy. I'm like, yeah. So next Sunday, when we come here, I was like, here we go. She's going to say it. She's going to be like, can we get like 200 balls and just you have 100 and I'll have 100 and we'll do that. And I'm like, here it comes. Here it is. And she goes, can we play foot golf? I was like, yeah, if you want, darling. A percentage of me was like, because I know we're not coming next week. Bless. So, talking about birthdays earlier, and I'm going to talk about another birthday. Some people would say, what is the most important birthday of the year? And other people would say, I didn't realise it was your birthday. Yes, I am about to age. Some would say age out. I'm about to age shortly. Now then, have you ever had this situation where somebody says to you, what do you want to do for your birthday? And you say, I've already planned what I'm doing for my birthday. Oh, right, okay, what are you doing? And then you rattle off a load of stuff that has nothing to do with anybody else. Yeah, no, maybe. Yeah, so basically, I think I alluded to this around Father's Day when I was talking about how truly awful Father's Day was. And I think at that point in time, I made the decision that I'd been toying with at that time, in and ahhing about, that when it came to my birthday, yeah, that shit wasn't going to fly. So, time to make some plans. So, I have deeply planned my birthday, which means A, it's not going to happen. I know what I'm doing first thing. I know what I'm doing for most of the day. I know what I'm doing around lunchtime. And I know roughly what I'm doing early afternoon. And a lot of that has been designed around the fact that there are a series of people in my life who are absolutely, categorically, 100% going to do absolutely everything in their power to ruin that day. And one of those people is me. So, removing those people from that situation is a cracking start. So, mostly so far planned on not being near other people for large amounts of the day. Yesterday, this conversation came up. The conversation I had been waiting for and knew was coming. So what have you arranged for your birthday? You've got actual plans for your birthday? Yeah. It's all arranged, all sorted. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, what are you doing about this? Well, I've said, I'll do this. what are you gonna do? Are you gonna come and meet me? Oh no, I won't be able to. All right, okay. Just waiting. The time is ticking along. It's just I wonder what you're doing about this, or what are you doing about this? And it's like, it's all fine, it's all taken care of. Absolutely no need to worry. It's just with the fact that you've decided to not spend any time, and at that point I went, here it comes. You've decided to not spend any time with your children on your birthday. And I was like, that is categorically not true. 3 of my children will be at school on my birthday, and one of them has activities in the morning and will be asleep for 2 hours in the middle of the day. So remind me how I'm not spending time with my children. Subject of food came up. I rallied that one back with, I really don't want to get all crazy and nuts where food's concerned. I literally want one item of food that celebrates the day, whether that's a piece of cake or, I don't know, a sandwich. I know that doesn't sound big to some people, but I don't eat bread, so a sandwich be a big thing. Outside of that, it's a normal day. No special food treats of any kind. I've been marking off on a list where I can get free coffee from on my birthday. Pretty sure I'm up to 2 whole free coffees, so I'll be cashing those bastards in. Outside of that, ultimately, I am just like, I know that this series of people are going to ruin that day, and I have to reduce the amount of time that they have the opportunity to do that. Unfortunately, it's one of those things. It's inevitable. However, if 60% of the day that's not an opportunity, no, it's not an option, not because they don't have the opportunity, I'm slightly ahead of the curve on this one. So it's one of those. This time next week, when I sit down this time next week to talk about this again, it won't have happened. So part of me is like, oh, why are you talking about this now? Well, I want to give the opportunity for the weather to be truly awful by that point in time, and that way I have to completely change all of my plans. However, I'll just have to go and, find a way to mimic all the activities I have planned just indoors. That's that for the week. I've got no movie this week. Why is that? I know, I'm just trying to think. What was Saturday? Yeah, I have no idea. I know there was a conversation about films. I think there was something to do with the time. Anyway, doesn't matter. I have no movie this week. I do have not one, but 2 TV shows to talk about, and a couple, 2-3 episodes to talk about. So, The Bear Series 3 has started back up. I watched the first episode and the second episode. First episode was very much a, oh no, what are we doing here? I will parentheses this part of the podcast by saying Series 3 of The Bear has not had the best reviews. It hasn't had bad or even terrible reviews. A review I saw was a 7 out of 10. However, when I read the review, I didn't feel it reflected 7 out of 10, which I think is a particular website's trick, shall we say. However, since then I have seen a series of what may be considered bad reviews. I saw something the other day, a TV program, which for now will go unmentioned, got a not so great review, and the company that make it the next day announced that after the next series it was being cancelled. I was like, wow, talk about knee-jerk reaction. I feel with the TV show in question and the company that make it, I feel that they were probably just waiting for the first bad review so they could pull the plug. But anyway, I watched the first episode of Series 3 of The Bear, and it was just like one long flashback of like 3 points in the main character's life. The problem was, it was completely unnecessary because we knew already about these 3 points in time from previous mentions, especially around like a couple of the other characters going through these bits. The whole episode just felt completely unnecessary. One of those where you get to the end of the episode and you're like, I would like my time back, please. Just purely where you're like, what are we doing here? Why have you done this? You have wasted an episode. It was nicely shot. It looked good. It had these like what are now familiar locations because we know all these places, but just landed in a realm of why. Didn't start the season off strong and made me worry, having then seen all of these bad reviews, what was to come. However, episode 2 was a lot better, I felt. Back to the fast-paced nature, back to the stuff that makes it a good series, back to moving on with the story, moving forward with the story. All of this, I got to the end of the second episode. I turned to Leanne and I said, we're 2 episodes into this series, and correct me if I'm wrong, but time-wise, we're at 8:30 the morning after the last episode of Series 2. So less than 12 hours of real of time have passed. So that was put a little dampener on the end of the episode, I will say. However, it was a good episode. Now, I've looked at what the episodes are to come, like the titles of them and the one-line description, and I'm like, I can already see why this series has had not great reviews. I can see it all laid out. And I'm a bit like, that's not good. It's a shame. It's a real shame. But I was saying, ultimately, when you've caught lightning in a bottle, it is so hard to know what to do with it, especially if there's a little bit of, you don't know how you caught it. And that's what this series is already feeling like. It's a bit like, oh man, it's such a shame. But we'll see. I'm not going to lose hope. The other thing I watched was the second episode of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Something I would just like to point out and go on record with. Can you imagine being the talent that is Donald Glover? I think since Community, where you're like, hey, he's kind of funny, and that being kind of that, and you saw not really his versatility to now, where I saw a trailer for a film with him in this evening, and I was like, that looks fun. Probably give that a whirl. Honestly, a juggernaut of a talent that man is. Anyway, that aside, do we remember I had mixed feelings about the first episode. Wasn't super enamored with the female lead and the character she was portraying, and I was a bit like, it's gonna be a bit of a slog. Now, at the end of the episode, the first episode, it did here's what's coming on series 1 of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I was like, it's a bit weird to do that in the UK. Obviously, it's an American show, so it's probably just been left in from that side of things. And it flashed through a series of stuff that's coming, and it all looked very interesting, a lot of fun. One of the things that did stand out was the cast. The cast looked very interesting. So I'm like, I can't imagine some of those people are going to star in something that's not great. So we got to continue to give it a chance. Episode 2. Mr. and Mrs. Smith have to go to a silent auction and do a thing. I won't spoil it. Enter John Turturro. Big Lebowski fame. Some of the Transformers movies. I'm sure that's high up on his resume. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I very much enjoy his work. Obviously, he's in one of my favourite films. One of those people that you just enjoy when they're on screen. You're like, yeah, cool. He popped up as the, I would say, third main character in the episode. And as in a lot of ways, in a lot of cases, amped that episode up through the roof. Like, I was like, I am with you for this ride. It was a fast-paced episode. It was fun. Made me laugh. I was going to say some like sort of throwaway lines. Not so much throwaway lines, but lines in it where you just like... the line of, what are you doing? I'm going through your stuff. Made me proper chuckle. The end, which I won't spoil, the end of the episode alluded to something which I imagine is going to be a large part of the series. Very good episode, very enjoyable. What was nice, what was better, is the lady that's playing Jane Smith. I feel like from the first episode to the second episode, they've ever so slightly softened her, which really helps. And at the end of the episode, they almost managed to make her like more human and a likable character. She's not as cold and closed off. I imagine that's a progression type thing, and really worked. I really liked that sort of change. It was really good. As with these things, we'll definitely be checking out another episode. And honestly, I think I'm probably in it now. 2 episodes in, and I would say more than 50% invested. Oh, Paul Dini, the Riddler from the Batman. He turned up in the episode, and it was a bit of one of those you were a bit like, who are you? Are you who you're saying you are, or are you someone else? So yeah, that was like a cool little thing. Definitely gonna, I presume loop back to that. So computer game wise, I'm gonna cut out a couple of things. I will give a honorary mention to one of the games I bought in the Steam sale. Is a game that myself, Leanne, and a couple of my children have spoken about. And I was like, I think the only way we're going to know for sure is if we buy this game and it's on sale, so let's do it. I bought Pal World. For anybody that doesn't know it, Pal World is Pokemon with guns. Sounds great. And I actually gave it a go. Now, honestly, I worked on the principle this game wasn't for me. But part of me was like, I'm never going to know that until I try it. I gave it a go. I caught 3 creatures: a cat type creature, a sheep. No, I'm telling you a lie. I caught 4: a cat, a sheep, a chicken, and I managed to catch an owl, which was several levels higher than me, but I managed to do it. And I'd built some stuff, and I made a base, and I was doing all these things. I was struggling to get cloth to build an outfit, and I was very cold. And I was like, okay, I've given that a go. It feels very, very much like what I would call a Leanne game. And I was like, right, that one's for you to have a go on. The next day, I went out, left her with the Steam Deck and was like, give it a whirl. I got back. She's like, oh, I played it. I was like, cool, what do you think? So I got stuck doing this. I got stuck doing this. I got stuck doing this. I'm like, I mean, I managed to get past all of that. So what? Oh, I don't think I was doing it properly. I was like, okay. So maybe it was my game more than hers. Who knows? There's a series of other things through the sale. Nothing major to write home about. So, that being that, let's move on. I played and finished Death Horizon Reloaded. Something interesting happened whilst playing this game. I thought I was about to finish it one day last week. And I said, I'm just going to put this game on and quickly get it finished up, and then I'll move on to playing something else. That was the plan. You're playing along, you're playing as this guy, you've got this other guy, turns out to be the bad guy, yada, 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 going along. Then, the bad guy stops being bad guy, and you start talking to a female doctor. I wasn't cheating, I'd briefly looked up how to deal with what I believed was the end of game boss. This is why I said, I'm just going to put this on and quickly get the game finished. I couldn't get past it, so I looked it up and it was like, oh, you don't kill it because you can't, you got to run away from it. I was like, do you know something? Honestly, that was going to be my next thought, so I feel like I've kind of kicked myself in the stones on that one, but anyway, let's do that. I ran away from the monster, and I was like, right, this is it, last level, here we go. And the game said, no. So the game was like, hey, you know that doctor you've been talking to? How would you like to play basically the equivalent of everything you've played up to this point as a different character? I don't mean like the same stuff again. I just mean you switch character to the female doctor that's been talking to you through the back end of that bit of the game, and you just start playing as her, but from scratch. And her way of playing the game is ever so slightly different. So you have to worry about like actually injecting yourself with health, whereas the first guy doesn't. You don't have to worry about that with him. He has like a regenerative health thing. If you stop getting attacked, your health heals, so you don't have to worry about it. What it did mean was you had to make a slot, one of your gun slots available for carrying the health injector. I was like, well, that makes things interesting. So, I start playing as the Doctor, expecting a couple of levels. Two hours later, and a nearly dead quest. I'm like, I'm going to have to turn this off. Because I need to go to bed. I was supposed to be playing something else, etc., etc. I think it was a couple of days later I went back to it and was like, right, let's find out what the crack here is. Played it and ended up finishing it. It had two possible endings. The first one I picked, I thought I'd done it wrong because the game just ended. It's like, okay, so why don't you go back to the other character? That's strange. Realised that the other option was to go back to the other character. I was like, alright, fine. Reloaded, replayed the end of the game. Did it a lot quicker and a lot better the second time. Picked the other ending and just got a different text ending. Said, you go back into the facility and you do this, that and the other. But it was all text. You just read what's on the screen and go back to the main menu. I was like, that feels very much like you are just ramming a sequel into the mix there. Because it's so open-ended. Few things I'm going to say about this game. One, very good. Honestly, I'd have given you 15 quid for it. I'd have maybe pushed it to 20 if I'd have played a demo so I knew what I was buying. I'd have probably given you 20. I paid £1.90. The word bargain, yes sir. Good, solid zombie game. I didn't like the fact that the zombies could come from behind, and as with anything, zombie dogs and me do not get on. I don't like it. I would very much recommend Death Horizon Reloaded to anybody who likes zombies, likes the guns, the shooter aspect to games. Very much recommended. Honestly, I'd probably give it a solid 8. I think that's probably fair. As I mentioned, I got a Humble Bundle. It was a VR Humble Bundle, PC VR. 2 or 3 games, maybe more, maybe less, we'll see, that I was very interested in playing, and a couple of others for other people in my house, I imagine. Whenever I say that, it's always me that ends up playing them, which, So I started last night on the bundle with Gone. Honestly, I've seen this game everywhere. It's on PC VR, it's on Quest VR, it's everywhere, and I've never looked into it. It's only when the fact that it popped up as part of this bundle that I actually looked into what it was. Gone is a super violent arena melee battle type thing. Doors open, big burly men come out, you hit them with stuff. That's that. You go through waves, different arenas, weapons get involved so far, and away you go. Honestly, super enjoyable, lots of fun. To the point where I realised that you could start lopping off limbs if you wanted to. It got a little bit questionable where I found that I had grappling gun things on the back of my hands, and you can fire them into people's their arms and legs and just pull them off. Not like that. Even I was like, that's a touch excessive, isn't it? So far I've been through so many weapons, all melee, swords of different kinds, throwing knives, mace, baseball bat with nails in, a mace on a chain, a sword on a like a spear that's like a 3-piece spear, all those kinds of weapons, like knife on a chain, etc., etc. Bow and arrow? Check. There is one thing about this game that I do not understand. I don't know whether it's like an age thing, a rating thing, or what. The weapons are bendy, like they're made of rubber. When you stood waiting for the arena to start and you're waving your weapons around and they're bendy, you're like, cool, that's fun. Not sure why it's necessary, but okay. When you get into a fight, a battle, an arena, whatever, having a bendy sword isn't exactly ideal. So it's a bit odd. Also, something that was really weird was the original control structure that it gave me to use. I was like, who would ever want to use this controls? So went about changing them immediately and eventually found a way to get the sort of controls that I would actually want to use. So there. And finally, I have continued playing V Rising on the PlayStation. Some part of me feels a bit like a fraud because I've kind of abandoned the PC version, and ultimately I'm playing a much better playthrough on the PlayStation, and I feel, like I've sort of like an imposter. However, it has meant that I have played it. I still haven't got up to where I was before, but I'm getting close at this point. As I was saying to somebody at work today, I made the cardinal sin last night. I had 15 minutes before I had to go to bed, and I went, I'll just try and beat this boss. Yeah, I went to bed an hour later than I should have done, which was super naughty. Largely because I couldn't beat the boss. However, when I played it on the PC/Steam Deck, it took me 3 goes. And I could have done it on the second one if I'd have really tried. I did it on the third one, no problems. Last night, pretty sure it took me 10 attempts. So, not ideal. I am further on in a lot of ways in the game. I've already managed to fully complete my castle, walls and floors, which gives me a roof. So while I'm in the castle now, I can't get burnt by the sun, which is super freaking annoying. And I have completed that quicker. I need to do the thing that when I first played it was really annoying, which was crafting iron ingots. I don't know how I felt about iron ingots, but it was a real test once I got to that part of the game. I'll keep going. At the moment, I haven't reached that point that I reached with the PC one where I felt like A, what I needed to do was just too much, and B, I didn't feel like I was progressing the way I should have been or wanted to be. So I haven't reached that point yet. The true test will be when I do reach that point, and we have to sort of assess it from there. But I'll keep you posted on that one. Right, there we go. That's it. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. And I will catch you next time. So there we go. What do you think to that? Another one done. Another one gone. Puh, can you believe it? Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Before you go, you know what to do, don't you? Click that like button. Subscribe if you've not subscribed. I mean, what are you really doing with your time and your energies? Share the podcast around. That is a super big one. And check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. Right, that is it. That's all she wrote. I will catch you next time. But until then, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode of Cookie Cast, please like, share and subscribe.